and welcome back to another rail fanning adventure. Today we're going to be taking a special trip that we went on at the very beginning of the year, just after we went to Chattanooga. It's going to be something that my friends and I have really wanted to do for quite a long time, and our schedules finally worked out to where we were actually able to complete this adventure. So with that in mind, let's take the short drive to Guntersville, Alabama, where our adventure will begin. Guntersville, a town well known for competitive fishing, hydrofest, and fantastic lakefront property. Today, it'll be known as the northern terminus for the Alabama and Tennessee River Railway, or ATN. It's a beautiful Friday morning, and what do you know, here's a train. This is the ATN Y102, which operates south out of Guntersville towards Gadsden on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Here, we'll follow the train south as it works several customers en route. We beat the train here, so we'll go get some breakfast before the train leaves. We've had our breakfast, and now the Y102 crew has arrived. Let's sit back and enjoy the sounds of these mighty EMD motors come to life. All cranked up and ready to go, Y102 blasts off from the Guntersville Depot. Y102's power today is OMLX 408, an SD40 M-2 rebuild, formerly an SP SD45, OMLX 4291, an XCN GP40-2LW, and ATN 7371, a former SP SD40R. The ditch lights on 408 are not working. This is a little bit of a long story, too long for the video. Y102 will start their journey by working a couple of industries along Lake Guntersville. While they do that, let's talk a little bit more about the ATN Railroad. This version of the ATN was formed from pieces of three fallen flag railroads. The northern leg, the section we're chasing on, is former Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis territory. The NC and STL ran between Guntersville and Gadsden, with a connecting ferry service to its Huntsville, Alabama branch, which ran from Decker, Tennessee to Hobbs Island on the south end of Huntsville. From Gadsden, the ATN runs on the former Louisville and Nashville Birmingham Mineral Belt line to Wellington, Alabama. The ATN then turns back west at Wellington onto the former Seaboard Airline Birmingham subdivision, then runs to Birmingham and interchanges with CSX at Bowles Yard. Up until 2004, this was all CSX territory. That year, they leased the line to Omnitrax, which gave the name ATN to the line. There are many customers along the route, providing plenty of business for the short line. And just in time, it sounds like Y102 has finished up working, so it's time for us to get set up. Y102 blows for the Alabama 227 crossing, but they'll be here for a little bit. They're about to start working a business called Tucker Milling. They'll be pulling 3 tank cars out, then spotting the rear tank onto another track. Here they come, backing in to pick up the tankers. Now they've picked the tankers up. They will spot the rear car onto the other track. Finally, they've completed their work. The train is now 2 cars longer than it was coming into Tucker Milling. You've probably noticed this by now. The conductor has been riding in a crew van instead of the engine. This practice is apparently quite common amongst various short line railroads. When you've got a bunch of industries in a relatively smaller area and a short line that really isn't moving faster than 10 to 20 miles per hour, it's easier for the conductor to ride in the crew van. It speeds up the process as the train can finish its work and blast off rather than stop and let the conductor off, then wait for the conductor to walk all the way back to the head end before departing. And of course, the train is also moving very slow. We're here at Brasher's Chapel Road. I'm now going to let a good friend of mine who knows a good way around the ATN explain what we're doing.
All right, Drayton. So, we are here at... we're here at Brasher Chapel Road. We're waiting on ATN, the mountain job coming up the mountain. It's got a really cool horn.
And it's very slow.
It's also very slow. It is really slow.
Thank you, John. Somehow we have beat Y102 to a pair of crossings outside of Albertville, so let's get them moving again. Y102 is now working one of the bigger industries on this section of the line, Colormasters in Albertville. This operation has gotten so big that they've actually built a yard on the other side of the street. Typically, it has an engine that is an IC, like former switcher unit, in the yard there. It was not here at this time. This is the last time we'll see Y102, as we're just about ready for lunch. We're all really hungry. We have a pretty nice place in mind. Somehow, we've made it all the way down to Irondale, just in time to see NS Train A28 bring their train of mostly loaded cement hoppers into Norris Yard. We had lunch at the Irondale Cafe, which, as most local rail fans know, is by far the best place to have lunch on a rail fanning day when you're in the Birmingham area. After lunch, we made our way over to the south viewing area by the old Southern caboose. Conveniently, AB07 gets to work in the receiving yard, blocking me from my car. After I successfully moved my car over, a manifest makes its way into the yard. We never heard it on the scanner, but I suspect it was train 312. As 312 enters the yard, a westbound stack train with Union Pacific Power recrews and departs 20th Street. Surprisingly, this is an I-9S, an extra intermodal move for the UP in Los Angeles. Usually we see 29S down here in the morning, so it's quite interesting to see an extra move in the afternoon.
Jukes. First two are mixed.
Talk about other trains that I never expect to see in Irondale because of the time that they usually run. After a failed expedition to attempt to catch the ATN Birmingham job, which is another long story we don't have time for, but it is a really good story, we were surprised to see train 28J Hotshot Intermodal from the UP to Jacksonville, Florida, come around the corner for a crew swap. He must have either been really on schedule, or really behind schedule, or way ahead of schedule, as 28J usually runs through Birmingham in the middle of the dark. After a relatively quick crew swap, 28J throttles up and blasts off toward Atlanta. highball back north to our side of the state after 28J cleared, as we were pretty wore out and ready to get back home and there really wasn't anything else coming. All in all, it was a very good trip. Many of us finally got to see the ATN for the first time, or at least see it in a manner where we could actually put it in a video for the first time. We had a fantastic lunch and just a really good day of rail fanning and having all of our friends around and having a good time. I'm looking forward to the next time we go out to the ATN, because since this trip, they have actually acquired 4 XUP SD70Ms, 3 of which have been running on the Birmingham job, and I think they've been running one of the other ones on the Guntersville job, so that would be really interesting to see. So it will definitely be something to go try to see those for the next trip. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like on the video. If you like what you see here and want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. We've actually got a very special 4-part series coming up very soon for our next big rail fan trip of the year. Hopefully those videos will come out in a fairly timely manner. I'm really looking forward to that series. I hope you guys will be looking forward to that as well. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to leave you with one parting shot of the ATN. Thank you, and until next time, I'll give you signal indication to the next video. Have a good one.